What is good and what is up, everybody? Thank you all for watching this current video. And like I mentioned in my previous videos, I'd be working on some video essays, and this is my first video essay, so I hope you guys enjoy. I decided to do it on my favorite game franchise until it went downhill a bit with the latest installments. And so yeah, here is the rise and fall of inFAMOUS, the video I thought I'd never make. inFAMOUS is an open-world superhero sandbox game franchise exclusive to PlayStation and one of my favorite games ever. I grew up watching my dad playing the first game and inFAMOUS 2. From what I saw, I was in love with this game. In fact, this was actually the very first open-world game I've ever seen. I mean, who doesn't like being a superhero and sandboxing up the open world? Not me. I loved everything about the game: the characters, gameplay, story, tone, and level design. Oh yeah, and I was, at the time, super obsessed with the character design, especially the enemies. I don't know, it was just something about it that seemed unique that I've never really seen before in like cartoons or anything. Then I watched my dad play inFAMOUS 2, and that game was a big improvement, at least I thought. And I loved it, even more than the first game. Then watched a bit of inFAMOUS Second Son gameplay, and Second Son was actually the first inFAMOUS game I was allowed to play everything myself, unfortunately. Now inFAMOUS Second Son isn't bad by any standard, but it just didn't improve on anything but the graphics, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to this. I thought it would be one of the best in the series. In fact, everything but the graphics was a step down. Let's start with the rise of the series. Sucker Punch announced their new IP in 2007 after working on the Sly Cooper trilogy. The game was released in 2009 exclusively for the PS3, very well received. The game was heavily praised for its story, gameplay, open world, and overall atmosphere, and I really loved the game's atmosphere as well. With IGN giving it a 9.2 out of 10, Metacritic 85 out of 100, GameSpot 9 out of 10, and me probably an 8.9 out of 10. People clearly loved the game, with some of the only criticisms being a variety of visual and gameplay glitches, which I definitely agree on, and minor criticism for Cole's voice, the main protagonist of the the first two inFAMOUS games, including the DLC. inFAMOUS sold around 2 million units or copies, and there was quite a lot to do in inFAMOUS's open world. Heck, you could replay the story as either the good guy or bad guy, with your actions affecting the world and changing the way people react to you, which was some really nice details. And I never really saw much of the evil side, but I do know, I have seen like evil playthroughs on YouTube, so I do know how they look like. And there were also decent side missions to do, and hard to find collectibles called blast shards, or I'm not American, that would give you or your character, protagonist, more power capacity and purchase new abilities, since Cole had electricity based powers, so he would run out at some point. And okay, some of the blast shards you can easily encounter during like story missions, for example Stampton Bridge, and free roaming each district. The side missions were decent because although the objectives would be repeated just in different areas, they were fun to do at least, and had little side stories to them, and you would get a kind of a different variety of side missions. Like there would be the good karma side missions, there will be the evil karma side missions, and then there will just be the side missions that you can do without any specific karma rank. And inFAMOUS is just an overall fun game with a well thought out map design, which I really love, but of course they definitely improved the map design in the second game, which we'll get into. Once inFAMOUS was released, Sucker Punch Productions went to work on Infamous 2 following the events of the good/heroic ending, since the good ending is always canon. And in 2011, Infamous 2 was released, again being exclusive to the PS3. In terms of average reviews, Infamous 2 got slightly lower reviews, with Metacritic giving it an 83 out of 100, IGN a 9.0, and GameSpot giving it a 7.5, saying it's a disappointing sequel. That was only said by GameSpot. A lot of people have mixed feelings about this game, and a lot of people love it. The story for me is much improved, with character development being very present, especially Cole and Zeke's, Cole's friend, friendship, and the new characters. What I really loved about Infamous 2 was its action and drama-oriented story, with both good and evil endings being really heartbreaking and really sad. And both endings were definitely worth playing through. Now, actually, fun fact, Nate Fox, the creative director at Sucker Punch Productions, actually wrote the evil ending to be canon, but due to the trophy status on PSN, the good ending was the most played. Therefore, we got Second Son. Now, everybody has their opinions, but to me, letting trophy statuses changing the direction the story was originally going to lead is pretty stupid. Infamous 2 sold 2.2 million copies worldwide. Although it sold a bit more than the first game, I feel that it's the most forgotten in the series. With the success of the first two Infamous games, including Infamous 2's epic standalone expansion, Infamous Festival of Blood, and the announcement of the PS4, Sucker Punch started working on the third installment of the Infamous franchise, titled Infamous Second Son. When the game was released in 2014, March 21st, within the first 9 days, Infamous Second Son sold 1 million units. This might not seem a lot today, but to the Infamous series, this was really big. But the average reviews were much lower than the previous games, with IGN giving it an 8.7 out of 10, Metacritic a 80 out of 100, and GameSpot rating it higher than Infamous 2 with an 8.10, which to me is pretty strange. But like I said, everybody has their opinions. Also, playing through the game for the first time, I was impressed and I had fun with it. But by the time I played through the game again, this time on Evil Karma, the evil ending made no sense, and now that it comes to think of it, the whole story isn't properly explained on how the superhumans, the conduits, and spoilers ahead, are still alive from after the events of the good ending from Infamous 2. But then in a way, I don't think Infamous Second Son is a direct sequel to Infamous 2. Maybe it's an alternative time period, and yeah, I got nothing. Also, the gameplay, side content, and powers felt rushed and unfinished. The side missions are poorly designed, not fun, and repetitive compared to Infamous 2, which has, to me, the best side missions in the series. The only side missions that were close to alright was the audio logs, which are the kind of like dead drops in the previous games, and the paper trail missions, the free expansion missions. What sucks about the audio logs is that unlike in the first two games, you can't re-listen to them to try and connect the pieces of the story puzzle or come up with your own lore. The paper trail missions, like the other side missions in Second Son, are uninspired and repetitive, but there's always, or almost always, a twist. For example, taking pictures of evidence. All crime scenes are different and some questionable, but at least there is a side story to it. Now for the powers. The first three powers you get, Smoke, Neon, and Video, are fun powers to use. They just don't feel as fleshed out as Cole's electricity-based powers, where it would actually affect the environment and people would actually react to that. As for the last power you get, Concrete, is more like half a power. Why do I say that? Because it doesn't have a full moveset and no karmic streak like the other powers in the game, and it's basically only used to defeat the main antagonist and the good ending. If you're evil, only to kill the main antagonist. The power also just feels much less fleshed out. I've played a bit of Infamous and Infamous 2 when I was allowed to, but unfortunately, as my excitement to start from the very beginning of Infamous 2 got overwhelming, my PS3 suffered the yellow light of death, most likely due to old thermal paste, and it's going to be a lot of work to replace the CPU and GPU. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I can't wait to do more video essays like this and analysis and kind of re-reviews, or not re-reviews, but like retrospective reviews on some of these old games that I really liked. Also, I'd like to give a big shout out to the inspirations for this video. This video was inspired by Gamers, Game Makers Toolkit, Colorshed Productions, Casey, Madman's Knowledge, Writing on Games, and Cvit.